Well, thank you, Mr. President. First of all, this is a very talented team, as you've seen, and as you know, because you picked every single one that's on. You deserve tremendous credit for doing that. It's an honor to be in this role. It's also an honor to be involved in and be a witness to what I believe is the most transformational year in American foreign policy since the end of the Second World War, at least. And it's transformational because for the first time in a long time, we have a president who basically puts America at the forefront of every decision we make in our relations with the world. And that may sound weird to people, like, of course you always do. No, that hasn't always been the case until about a year ago. And I think we've all witnessed in our own respective spaces how in every interaction the president has with the world, the goal he has in mind is very simple. Does what you want us to do, or is it what or is it going to make us stronger? Is it going to make us richer? Is it going to make us safer? If it is, he's for it. If it's not, he's against it. If something's going to make America weaker or poorer or less safe, the president's going to be against it. And every single thing he has done in our foreign policy has been driven by the American people in mind. And I can go down the list. Why has he focused on mass migration? It's very simple, because no country is safe if you can just walk in without us knowing who you are into your country. We've seen the destruction that that's wreaking, not just in our own country, but the impact that it's having in Europe and in many other parts of the world. You talk about trade deals and the trade situation has been involved in. People, all this reporting on it. It's very simple. The president views the last 40 years as an era of which American workers and American farmers have been ripped off. They've been ripped off, and what he's saying is we want to have trade with the world, but it has to be a trade in which American businesses and American workers and the products they make and what American farmers grow and produce has a fair shot to be sold around the world. On issue after issue, that's been the case. You talk about foreign aid reforms. This is not our money. This is taxpayer money. When the president has said we're going to do foreign aid, but we're going to do foreign aid for countries that are aligned with the United States and in a way that doesn't waste the taxpayers' money. Mr. President, you deserve tremendous credit for that. Many of us, the Vice President, by the way, I want to acknowledge, has played an extraordinary role in our foreign policy, and he too has been a witness to all of this as it's been occurring, and he's been a big part of it as well. You talk about NATO. The president's not against NATO. He went to NATO and basically said, look, you guys, we're paying all the money, and he got them to do the 5% commitment, which everybody said was never going to happen. It was impossible. Everything this president does is driven by the American people. Whether you don't have to agree with the actual move, but understand the motivation. The motivation is always you, the American people, and what's good for you, for your family, for the country, and for our economy. But the president is also committed to peace in a way that all of us have seen. He achieved in Gaza, and he does it, by the way, not just because he hates war and he thinks wars are a waste of money and lives, but because he's the only leader in the world that can. No other leader in the world could have pulled off what happened in Gaza. And I can tell you, I can't get into the details. The vice president knows what I'm talking about. That deal doesn't happen without the president's direct interaction with the leaders that were involved in this decision making. And everyone said that deal couldn't hold. And then the president shepherded through the United Nations of all places to get a global coalition of countries to line up behind the peace deal, behind the border peace. And it's still, every day is a challenge, but it's been driven personally by the president. It's the reason why we're involved in this whole Ukraine-Russia conflict. That's not our war. It's not the president's war. This war started, it never would have happened if you'd been president. But this war is going on, and the president is trying to end it, not because, listen, we got a million things to focus on in the world as a country, but he's the only leader in the world that can help end it. And that's why even as we speak to you now, Steve Witkoff is in Moscow trying to find a way to end this war, to save lives of 9,000 people, Mr. President, as you want to know, are dying every week. More people are dying a week in that war than have died in the entirety of the U.S.'s involvement in Afghanistan or Iraq. Just think about that, how bloody and destructive it is. The president's taken on this issue of Sudan personally, not send out deputies to do it. Again, far away from the United States, because he's the only leader in the world that can bring it about to an end, not to mention all the other peace deals, very dangerous ones like India and Pakistan, or Cambodia and Thailand. And so on all these things, Mr. President, I think you deserve tremendous credit for the transformational aspect of our foreign policy. For the first time in probably 4 decades, the American foreign policy is driven by what is good for America and Americans, whether it makes us safer and stronger and more prosperous. If it is, he's for it. If it doesn't, he's against it. And that sort of clarity is transformational. I close with this, and I know I'm last, so I wanted to be fast, but there was a lot to cover. I do want to say this is the most wonderful and magical time of the year. By that, of course, I'm referring to the college football playoffs. And I just want to say this as a point of personal privilege. And I'm a Florida Gator, but if the University of Miami gets screwed out of the college football playoffs after going 10-2 and beating Notre Dame, the whole thing should be scrapped, and you're going to have to take over it next year.
Well, thank you all very much. It was terrific. I hope it wasn't too long, but it was very concise, and we've done a lot. This group has done a lot. Amazing. Everybody at this table has done a fantastic. And Susie, thank you for doing a great job, as our chief has said. First female chief of staff in the history of our country, which is pretty amazing when you think of it, right? And she's the best. Thank you very much. Great job. So after that, do you want to ask any questions?
Mr. President, there's been a lot of speculation about who the next Fed chairman could possibly be. You said you had somebody in mind.
Yeah.
How many names were you given on the final list? And does that person currently work on the board of the Federal Reserve?
Well, I'd say that we probably looked at 10. Then Scott interviewed some people that I didn't know, but he knew. And a lot of people were involved in the process, actually, and Howard was involved. But I think we probably looked at 10, and we have it down to 1.
Can you answer this? I want to ask you about Elon Musk, if I could. You talked about Elon Musk. You had him at dinner here in the White House. Is he now back in your circle of friends?
Well, I really don't know. I mean, I like Elon a lot. He was a very, he really helped during the election with his endorsement. He felt strongly. Look, we had one problem. You know, I didn't want to have everybody have to have an electric car, and he makes electric cars. And yeah, I think we get along well.
You know, on affordability, when you talk about affordability, is going forward, are the American people, do you believe, getting impatient with the reforms that you're making? They talked about it's about.
I think they're getting fake news from guys like you. Look, affordability is a hoax that was started by Democrats who caused the problem of pricing, and they didn't end it. Look, they lost in a landslide. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote. We won everything. You take a look at districts, it was 2,750 to 500, 525, because that was an affordability problem. We brought it down. Look at energy. Look at the gasoline price. That's like the simplest, and it's the biggest, because if energy comes down, everything comes down. That's the way it works. We are going to be at 250. You said 199 in some places in the country, right? You said it. I didn't say it. And they won't check you, they'll check me. So, you know, I like to use your number. 199 a gallon. Unthinkable if you go back a year and a half ago. It's unthinkable. So, no, we're bringing the prices down, way down. Beef is coming down now. We've done certain magic and beef is coming down. But we inherited horrible prices. We inherited really the worst inflation in history. We inherited that. When I came in, that's what he had. And we fixed inflation. And we fixed almost everything.